Hey guys, it's Kaitel.
And Flex.
And this is going to be our weekly podcast.
Heck yeah.
This is going to be a return to what we used to do. We used to do our Friday night live streams. And now we're doing the weekly podcast.
That's right. This is the new thing we're doing.
Yeah, so this setup is different because we're using one mic between the two of us. You know, we're not like those production studios that have two mics.
No.
On each side.
It's not a studio at all.
So this is like an old-fashioned radio show where everyone is around like the same microphone.
Keeping it old-timey.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about what this is going to be. The podcast is going to be kind of just like talking about the games we've been playing, the movies we've watched, the shows we've watched, and then just life stuff.
Everything.
Super casual.
Yeah.
Just like our Friday Night Live.
It's just a new format, new media.
Because when we stopped doing those, people were like, they thought something happened to you.
I died.
They either thought you died or they thought like we broke up, and no one wanted to ask.
They're scared.
That was very polite though. The fact that no one wanted to ask.
It's very nice of them.
Everyone was just like, okay.
Very, very nice of them to do that.
Yeah, no, which was polite. You know, when you think about it, It's a nice thing to do.
It is a nice thing to do. Thank you for being considerate of me.
Thank you.
Still here. Still alive.
So
Still together.
Still together, still alive, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but I wanted to start these weekly podcasts because one, there's a lot of stuff that we see or watch or do, and I don't really have a way to talk about it, and I can't do like a video for every single, we're going to review this show, we're going to review blah, 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 blah. This is like a way to incorporate all that.
So,
You know?
This is just like what we used to do. But
yeah, exactly.
New format.
New format. So I'll start with my exciting news. Last week, I flew out across the country and I got to attend the Lies of P DLC event for the upcoming DLC.
Where was that
release
at?
date yet. That was in LA. And that was super freaking cool. It was awesome.
What happened?
And I'm going to have a video on that.
Okay.
But it was cool because this was my first, like, in-person press event thing that I've done regarding a video game. The very first event I was able to do was for the Assassin's Creed DLC, but that was online. Mm-hmm. This was in person. And it was super cool because the venue was, like, all decked out and decorated. It was super, super fancy. They had the music from the game. They had a live little like quartet playing music. They had this marionette puppet of Pinocchio. Not Pinocchio from the Carlo Collodi book, but Pinocchio from the game.
Is P Pinocchio?
Yeah.
Okay.
They call him P, but clearly P stands for Pinocchio.
What if it stands for puppet?
It could stand for puppet. No one actually knows. In my lore videos, I called him Pinocchio because I did some lore videos on Lies of P, but I loved that game so much, so this was super exciting because I took a shot as well. I emailed them because I saw on Instagram they were doing this. They're like, we're going to have journalists and some content creators looking at the DLC early. And so I contacted my contact at the marketing company that she had reached out to me like a year before. She wanted to send me a t-shirt. So I still had her contact. And I was like, hey, I saw this. Would I be able to come to this event? I'll pay for my travel and everything. I just really want to go. And she's like, no need to do that. Like, we'll pay for everything. So it was a super, super cool event. I got to meet a lot of other independent journalists. And a lot of the people that were there were like, this is my first press event too. And something that NeoWiz did that I don't think any other company, any other big established, really well-known company would do was they invited all of their Discord moderators.
That's really nice.
To the event. And I was shocked because I was like, they're not necessarily getting, like, like for me, I'm going to do a video about it. I'm going to do I'm going to talk about once the embargo lifts, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the DLC and show footage. But the Discord moderators, they had such affection for them because they said they're the ones responsible for making their game popular, for really like championing it online and making it not streamlined, but making it like,
creating awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Like just promoting it.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was so cool. And I've never seen that before, a lot of like companies will suck up to like, oh, big name content creators,
Right.
big name streamers, but they invited their Discord mods.
I love that. I
And
do
I
love
just
that.
that's not something that they're going to go brag about. They didn't advertise that at all. They said at the event they wanted to talk about who was there, and I thought it just made me have so much respect for them. And I got to talk to the lead director, Jiwon Chow, and he was super. He was really, really just excited and passionate, and you could tell it was like his this game is his baby. But everyone I talked to was so nice. So I really had a really good time there.
Did it get you hyped for the DLC?
Yes. I can't talk about the DLC. I can't talk
Okay.
about it yet because the embargo period, but I can't wait to talk about it.
Heck yeah. I can't wait to play it.
Absolutely.
That game was really fun.
So I'll
if
get to
you
have
didn't get to
some
play
fun
Lies of
action.
P, you're missing out on a great game.
Lies of P was my favorite game of that year.
I don't remember what year it came out.
2023.
Yeah, I think Lies of P.
2023.
Yeah, I think that might have been my favorite game
Yeah,
of the year.
it was my favorite.
What
game
else
of the
came
year.
out that year?
I don't remember.
Well, then Lies of P it is.
No, God of War Ragnarok came out that
I
year,
still like
too.
Lies of P more than Ragnarok. I just, the gameplay was so good.
Yeah, the
It
gameplay
was
was good.
It was like a
story.
hybrid of Bloodborne, Sekiro, and its own thing. And I just love those kind
And
of
I
games.
just really love that universe.
Yeah.
It's just like that Belle Epoque era.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool. That was my exciting event.
Very cool.
Very
I was very excited for you to go.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it was this is like the first thing for me, that I've traveled to, I've gone, I felt very professional. I was asking questions, I was talking to the different directors there, introducing myself, making sure the marketing team knew who I was too. So yeah.
I'm
that was
always
cool.
traveling for work.
Yep.
So it's neat for me to stay home and for you to get to travel for work
Yeah.
for once. And you got to actually go to a cool thing. I never get
I
to go to
know.
cool things.
My thing was
I wish I
cool.
could go to things like that.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm gonna have a video on that, but that was my exciting thing that I just got back from because we were that week before we were in New York. We saw Glengarry Glen Ross.
Heck yeah, we did.
I should have had the playbill to show on camera.
Oh,
Oh well.
we brought it with us.
But yeah, so we went to go see Glengarry Glen Ross because.
Well, we should actually establish, like a lot of people don't know what Glengarry
Oh
Glen
yeah,
Ross
okay.
is.
Let's go see. Let's first see what it is.
1992. David Mamet takes his play, Glengarry Glen Ross, which I think he made and wrote in like 84, and converts it into a movie. A movie that I think everyone should watch. It's just phenomenal acting and drama. It's got Al Pacino, Kevin Spacey,
My
Jack
favorite,
Lemmon,
Jack Lemmon.
Ed Harris, Alan Arkin, just all-star cast. And it's all about salespeople trying to sell leads, trying to follow up on leads
Yeah.
for the Glengarry Glen Ross development in Florida.
Yeah, it's these salesmen trying to hustle people down, getting them to buy
Right.
tracts of land that are undeveloped.
In 1992.
Yeah.
Or I guess technically it's 1984 is when the story
Yeah.
takes place.
Well, a lot of people will know this movie because it has this one scene with Alec Baldwin.
Where he gets an Oscar for being on screen for 5 minutes.
Yes, that is the scene people know from Glengarry Glen.
Always be closing. ABC.
Always be closing.
Coffee is for closers.
Like,
Steak knives.
people have probably seen that scene not knowing it's from that movie.
Yes.
But we went to go see the play adaptation. Well,
Yeah,
the
it's a
play,
revival.
it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the play,
They've
it
done
was
this
first.
play. They've brought this play back like at least 7 times.
Yeah.
With different casts. Sometimes they bring
cast members.
casts back. Like Al Pacino's come back and played like Jack Lemmon's
that,
character.
I would love to
which
see
is
that.
wild.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this cast for Broadway, it had Kieran Culkin, Bill Burr, Bob Odenkirk, and
Michael
then
McKean.
Michael McKean.
Which is funny because Bob Odenkirk, Michael McKean.
Yeah, worked together on
Better Call Saul,
They
so
were brothers on Better Call Saul.
good to see them back again.
And Michael McKean was an a-hole.
I mean, in this play, everyone's an a-hole.
Everyone's an a-hole. Well, it's funny because, so the boss, see, this is why we should have the playbill, because this poor guy, I'm not going to be able to know his name. He was like an actor, like a stage actor, right?
Well, I think he was the understudy.
Yeah, he was the
that day,
understudy
too.
actor, yeah. So it was a very different depiction of
Kevin Spacey's
Kevin
character.
Spacey's character from the movie, but
Which was neat because in the
Yeah.
movie, Kevin Spacey is such a
he's
detestable
yeah,
butt.
he's such a jerk.
Yeah. And in the
Right.
play, this actor, specifically the way he treated it, made him a little more sympathetic. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel for this guy, which I never have in the movie.
Right, yeah. So it was a different totally different interpretation of that character, which was cool.
It was neat because Kieran Culkin played Roma, who Al Pacino plays. And Kieran Culkin brought a totally different energy to that role.
Yeah.
Tried to make him a lot more personable. Like, Al Pacino's very much like, ooh, let me be your best friend. Where Kieran Culkin is actually trying to, like, buddy up to people.
Right.
He's listening to people. He's not just, like, putting on a show. Like, it really felt like he was humanizing this character while still keeping him a scumbag.
Right. Bob Odenkirk played Jack Lemmon's character, which he did perfectly.
He did.
Because that character, Shelley, is just
Shelley Levine, the machine.
Yeah, he's like, he peaked, he had his prime.
Yeah.
And he's been deteriorating ever since. And then Bill Burr. Bill Burr was so good because if you haven't seen Bill Burr, like every other word out of his mouth is F you, F this, F and this. It's
everything.
very Boston.
Yes.
Right? And so in the play, it was still the same. It was just like you were listening to Bill Burr. He wasn't putting on this character.
But I mean, I will say, like, I was really impressed by Bill Burr's performance because we've always seen him do stand-up or Saturday Night Live or, like, little clips and interviews.
Yeah.
And he's very much himself. But in this play, it was still Bill Burr, but Bill Burr actually playing a character.
Yeah.
In a very convincing way. Like,
Yeah.
I was very impressed by his dramatic chops.
And this was his first Broadway.
Yeah.
This was his debut.
Mm-hmm.
And he did great. It was such a cool experience. It was really, really cool getting to see them live. So we had the orchestra. Or no, not the orchestra.
Mezzanine.
We had the mezzanine. And on our tickets, it was like obstructed view. So we were really
worried.
Like, what is obstructed view? But it was just a handrail. We were relatively we were close
We had
enough.
a good view.
I could see everybody. So that was super cool. If we lived in New York, I could see us like going to see Broadway plays all the time.
Yeah. It was a really fun experience.
Yeah, it was really cool. So that was New York. That was
Glengarry Glen Ross. Give me the leads.
I'm checking things off my list.
Oh, nice. Check them off.
So yeah, I guess we can talk a little bit about. So this isn't going to be like, this is casual.
Yeah.
This is casual because
This is a podcast.
It's just a podcast.
We don't have the chat to respond to anymore. Now it's just
this isn't a live stream.
A camera.
It's just a podcast now. But so let's talk about Clair Obscur Expedition 33.
the most interesting title of a game in a long time.
So people call it Expedition 33 or Clair Obscur. I call it Clair Obscur.
I think it is Clair Obscur, and Expedition 33 is like the subtitle.
Right.
Because I could see there being more Clair Obscur games.
Crop this because look.
What about it? You have the pants tent?
The pants tent.
That doesn't matter. You're a woman. It's okay for a woman to have a pants tent.
It's not okay for a man to have a pants tent.
It's not okay for a man to have. I mean, I don't have one.
One episode of Curve where Larry's in the theater and he has the pants tent.
It's like, it's a tent. It's a tent in my pants.
She thinks it's obscene. Yeah, Expedition 33, Clair Obscur.
Clair Obscur.
I call it Clair Obscur. I don't call it Expedition 33.
I mean, they sing it in the song.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
It's France.
It's really good is what it is.
It's really good. It's from France. This game has taken the world by storm.
It really has. It's impressive.
Like a team of 34, developers worked on it. And it was a former Ubisoft employee.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Makes sense because they're based out of France, so they would leave and go create their own studio.
But for the fact that this game, it's so original too. And I absolutely love the combat. It's turn-based, but it isn't just like selecting. You still have dodging and parrying, so it's like active turn-based combat.
It's very, I think the first game that did this was Mario RPG.
Yeah.
But it reminds me a lot of the recent Like a Dragon 7, 8 turn-based, where you have more interactivity with your blocks, your attacks, button pushes, different things happen. And it's also really neat because every character plays differently.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Final Fantasy VI in that regard because each character has a very different action set on how they attack and react to things and how they set up their combos. Super neat.
Yeah, it is just really, really enjoyable combat. And At first, when I started this game, I put it off for a few days because I kept planning. I was like, oh, I'm going to stream this game. I'm going to get back into streaming and I'll start with this game. And I'm so glad I decided not to do that because it's very dialogue heavy. There's a lot of writing in this game, but it doesn't feel... Sometimes writing in games can feel like Monster Hunter Wilds.
Oh my gosh.
For example. It's so bad because, I'm trying to get into voice acting and whatnot. And now I'm more conscious about the work that goes into each individual line, right? And the takes you have to do. And I was just button mashing to get through it because the writing was so... It wasn't...
Tashin!
Yeah, there was no real... It just didn't feel like it was a cohesive story, Monster Hunter Wilds. I was like mashing to get through. I had no interest in this story because it wasn't compelling, unfortunately. And
let me hunt monsters. That's it. That's all I'm here for.
So in Clair Obscur, and now that I'm playing it in French, so I do pick up audio here and there, but I've been slacking on my French, so not as much. But I'll still listen to all the dialogue and what, but there's a lot of dialogue. It's very dialogue heavy. So I'm so glad I did not stream this game because I feel like I would have missed the story. It would not have been the same experience for me. We do want to get back into streaming because we think we have really good, chemistry and we have fun when we play games. I was rewatching some of the stream videos, and people will come to my videos and say, hey, I love the stream you did. They'll remember streams we did from years ago.
We need to stream again then.
We need to stream again because we're just really fun and goofy. And
I miss stream. It was fun.
Yeah. But I can't stream a game like that.
No.
So playing it was such a nice experience for me because I feel like I've been in this kind of rut for a while with gaming where I haven't really felt like I've enjoyed it as much. And I think doing YouTube videos and stuff kind of affected that negatively as well. So this Clair Obscur was so nice for me to really get back and enjoy the story and the characters and kind of just, immerse myself without having to worry about, oh, I need to do a video on this. I need to do... Now, I am going to do some content on it, but it's not this rush. Right? I have to play through the game. I have to get it done. I have to make sure I'm no, that's just, it's not feasible for me.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, this is based on the YouTube things I watch. I feel like there's not as much pressure anymore to be on the topic.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to build Diablo 4 content 'cause that's where all the clicks are. That seems to happen less and less because the videos I watch more and more are older things.
Yeah.
But they show up in my feed, they're new videos. It's I'm going to talk about things that happened 3 years ago. And those are the things I watch. So definitely take your time on Clair Obscur. I think it's one of those things where it's going to be interesting for a long time.
Right.
I think also people just aren't playing games on launch anymore.
I know.
And that's...
Well, a lot of people can't afford... I mean, I played Clair Obscur on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I am
too.
too.
Game Pass is a great value.
I mean, between Indiana Jones, Clair Obscur, Doom, and Blue Prince.
Yeah.
How
much would that be right there?
I've probably saved $100.
Yeah.
And there's more games I'm going to play.
Now
that
it is
are coming to Game Pass.
you don't own the game, but you rent it.
Yeah, I play it through.
Right.
Right. The gotcha is always going to be if you don't have if you want to get the DLC.
Yeah.
You got to hope it's still on Game Pass
because
when the DLC comes out.
That's what happened for Lies of P. And
right.
I played Lies of P on Xbox, on Game Pass, and now it's gone. And so to buy the DLC, we had to buy the base game.
Yes. So you did double dip on that.
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, if you're just a one and done, you play through a game and you're done with, Game Pass is a fantastic value.
Game Pass is great. So I played it on Game Pass. I haven't had any performance issues with Clair Obscur or anything like that.
You have a 4070, TI or Super. You have a really good card.
I won.
You won. You're the
I won it from Black
queen of contests.
I know. I need to do more contests.
I have your old 3080 Ti. And I don't know what it is about the 3080s, just the 30s in general. I know that was the generation of cards that had the weird memory issue. But that game crashes for me every 2 hours. Like a Dragon Pirates in Hawaii crashes for me every hour, and I couldn't beat the game because of that, which was annoying.
Man.
I'm over it's any Unreal Engine game crashes after about an hour of time. Just gonna crash. Just gonna shut down.
And it just sucks, man.
It does suck. I hate it.
But that has nothing to do with Game Pass.
No, it doesn't. I'm playing Clair Obscur, interestingly enough, so I have Game Pass. It's on my computer,
Yeah.
but I stream it to the living room on my Steam Deck so I can play it on the big TV.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Which is cool.
I can just sit on the couch and stream.
Right.
With like almost zero. It streams good enough that I have no problem parrying.
Yeah.
That's how tight the latency is. I can still parry most things in the living room.
Yeah. You just need to have that couch.
That game has an excellent parry, by the way. If you're a person that likes parry games,
yeah. It's good.
it's real good.
And I like it
and it's
because
rewarding.
it has difficulty settings on it. So I just played it on story mode.
Yeah.
You're just playing it on a regular.
Yeah,
mode.
I usually
Whatever.
if the instructions will say like this is the difficulty the developers intended for it to be, that's what I'm going to play it on because I want to get the developer's experience. But I am not opposed to cranking things down to easy just to plow through a thing if I need to.
Yeah, you had to do that on Final Fantasy VII.
I did.
Rebirth.
Oh my gosh, because Rebirth was so long.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Rebirth
I
was
gotta get
long.
through
It
this
had
game.
a lot of content, yeah.
If I can cut down the boss times of some of
Yeah.
these battles, and it wasn't out of difficulty or necessity. It's just
It was just like, ooh, I'm playing this for 90 hours.
I want to see the end of this game.
Yeah,
I got to get on with my life.
And see, I still haven't beat it.
Yeah, you should crank it down to easy and just get
I
through.
should, yeah. But for Clair Obscur, I did play on story mode just because I like good gameplay and I like fun combat and whatnot. But I also don't really get anything out of difficult gameplay.
Yeah,
And I'm already not great at dodging and parrying and distance and timing. So it's like, what's the point of me making it more difficult for myself?
right.
You know?
I'm the opposite. A good story is a bonus for me. I'm like, oh, nice. This is gonna have a good story.
No.
But if the gameplay is tight, if the mechanics feel good, if it feels fair, oh, that's the best.
No,
I love
see?
mechanics over everything else.
But see, that's why this is a good blend. Because I like story, I like writing, I like character development.
You like the story, and I like the gameplay.
Gameplay, story.
The story, the gameplay. Let's call the whole thing off.
That's what people think happened. I'm going to say like, he liked the combat, and I like the story.
She liked the narrative, and I like the gory.
Holy cow. Yeah, speaking of gory, Doom.
Doom. Can't wait to play that.
That I could stream.
You
I
should
could
stream it.
I just need, when I
You
stream
haven't played the
something, I
previous
need-
ones, right?
No.
This one is a kind of a soft reboot, from what I
Yeah.
understand. Like, you're playing as a different Doom Slayer
Yeah.
in the past.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. Looks real
I could do
good.
that. I mean, there's a lot of good games that came out this year. And then
A lot.
Blueprints, I want to play. I'll stream that.
Blueprints is my game of the year so far.
Blueprints is a puzzle game.
Blueprints is magical.
A puzzle mystery game.
It is a mystery
Oh,
puzzle
heck
game
yeah.
wrapped up in a house-based roguelike builder.
And that's all you need to know.
It really is. If you're the kind of person, I will say, if you played The Outer Wilds and thought, that's a really cool game, you're going to love the Blueprints. Because I feel like
Yeah.
the Blueprints, in many ways, is better than Outer Wilds.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just never played anything like this. It's a game where you need to have a pen and paper on hand
Yeah.
at all times. It requires you to write things down. It requires you to draw pictures, to observe, to
Oh,
say,
heck
I don't know
yeah.
what this means, but I'm writing it down because it's probably important. And it always is.
Yeah.
Everything I wrote down in that game, I came back to later. I'm like, I'm so glad I wrote this down. Oh, it's a magical
See?
experience.
That's the game I'm going to play next. But he said I should stream it. That way, if I get stuck in a puzzle, I could just be like, hello, help me.
Well, and there's two layers to this game without spoiling anything. There is the objective you're given at the start of the game, which is like, can you solve these puzzles to get to this objective? But then there's a meta layer, which is the narrative.
Yeah.
I still don't really know
But see,
the
that's what I would
story,
like to do.
but it's all
Yep.
there. I just am not willing to go back and put it all together, and I think you would do a great job at
Oh,
that.
heck yeah. That's what I like to do. You know, I still like The Forest. I have such fond memories of that because right after we beat it, you know, me, you, and Bishop played through that.
Yeah.
And then he and I, for like 4 days, were just talking about the story, like, oh my gosh, it means this, it means this. It was so much fun. And in a way where it's like, you know, games don't really, they can either go like way too far extreme, like which I consider Elden Ring going way too far out there in terms of like expecting you to put pieces together. I like having all of the pieces there. You just have to arrange them.
That is Blueprints.
That is what I like.
Yeah.
I like the full story because having to second guess and assume really does, like, I don't like that. You know, I'm like a true crime detective. I want all of my pieces out here. I don't want to have to make crap up all the time just to make it make sense.
That's why I think you're gonna love this game.
I can't wait.
It expects you to treat it like a detective.
Yeah. That's what I like.
Yeah.
See, that's what I love.
So
true
good. I can't
crime.
wait for you to play it. I can't wait to watch you play it.
Yeah.
Truly a magical experience.
I can't wait.
So
That's
good.
going to be my next game then.
Do it.
Blueprints, Doom,
Doom.
Oblivion. Huh?
Huh?
I don't know. I'll probably not have time for that one, right?
I would love to replay Oblivion simply because I've never actually beat the main quest of that game.
Yeah.
I did the Thieves Guild.
I
did the Mage Guild, the Fighters Guild. I did all of the Thieves Guild story in that game is so good. I loved that. Might be my favorite Thieves Guild of Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I've never beat the main story.
I just haven't ever played it.
It had a really bad leveling system.
Yeah.
Where it
Don't
used
touch that microphone.
I didn't touch it.
I saw it shake.
I touch my knees. If I touch my knees and the microphone shakes, that means that the power of my hands.
I mean, we're using one microphone, so just, I don't know how this is going to sound on the podcast. And let me just say something right now.
Say it right now. Say it to the people.
We don't have a fancy studio setup. We
No.
don't have a studio. If there's any, things going on with the microphone, if the green screen is going to be shadowy and stuff when I take this, when I do the chroma key corrector or whatnot, like, this is real, okay? This is
scrappy. This is organic.
This is scrappy organic.
I went to Whole Foods. I downloaded the Kite Tails and Flex show.
Yeah.
Because I want to eat organic cereal today.
This is real, okay? This isn't
You're getting
like,
your nutrients.
Yeah, this isn't freaking fancy LED. If we ever got to that point, that would be super cool.
That would be cool. I wouldn't complain.
No, what the goal would be cool to have like a desk, and then we each have our own mics, 2 mics. Like Conan O'Brien setup.
Yeah.
And we were so when when I made Kite Tails, back at the very start, it was supposed to be the 2 of us.
Yeah.
And we were on camera, blah, 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 blah. So then I renamed the channel Kite Tails and Flex. It was like that for a long time because we were doing streams, we were doing things together, collaboration. And then
I died.
I named it Kite Tails. And then I switched it back because I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start doing videos on my own again, blah, blah, blah. And people thought you died. But no one asked. Like, it is also polite, but people legit thought you died without giving me sympathies, which is kind of messed up. People assumed you died, but didn't send me any condolences.
I wouldn't start my own podcast.
That's kind of sad. Yeah, you have your own podcast.
I do have my own podcast. With my partner in crime.
Your partner in crime.
Yeah.
But when I was like, okay, I want to do, because when I was revisiting, when I did my last video, my channel address, I saw like how much fun we used to have, and we like had really good chemistry. And I think when I'm doing stuff by myself, I get really somber. I get really like I get really like sad.
Why?
I don't know. I get really serious.
That's not gonna get picked up. Don't worry about it.
No, it won't. So I get really serious. So I was like, well, when we're doing stuff together,
I won't let you
more
get serious.
Playful,
Yeah.
Then I tend to be the one who's like more crazy.
Yeah. It's funny. I think out of the 2 of us, I have straight man dynamic, and you are the goofball. But on my podcast, I am the goofball, and my partner in crime is a straight man. So it's just we
switch.
We swap.
And then when I'm by myself, I become everything all at once.
Yes. Just
and it's confusing.
A ball of sadness.
And people are like, I don't understand. Did he die? I understand. I think he died, but I want some condolence.
If he's dead, well, he's okay. He's okay.
Yeah, so then I was like, maybe I should just rebrand the channel. Maybe I should just call it Kite Tails and Flex again. But then you're like, no, just call it Kite Tails.
Yeah, no one cares about me. Literally, no one cared that I was dead.
But the podcast, legit, no one cares.
So you don't need to put my name on the thing.
Which is actually kind of sad when you think about it. Like, people thought you died and didn't send condolences, didn't send sympathy. No one was like, oh, my sympathies for you.
I miss Netflix. He's a good young lad.
But for this show, the podcast, I think we should just call it like the Kite Tales and Flex show.
Sure. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I mean, you're the
But
draw.
channel,
I'm just the.
I will just keep the channel.
I'm not even the sidekick. I'm like, the furniture.
You really want to say such a thing.
I do.
Yeah, so that's the Kite Tales and Flex show, unless someone can come up with a better name for the podcast. And I don't know where we're going to release this to. I'm going to upload it on YouTube because YouTube has a podcast section, but people like to listen to it off YouTube as well.
Yeah. The only challenge is, and I open to feedback. I've been running my podcast for over 3 years now.
Yeah.
It's just expensive to use like a podcast hosting platform to get these on all the different things. So if anyone has any advice on that, I'm always open to feedback in that regard too.
Well, that's why people have like Patreon and
Right.
YouTube membership, which I'll probably start that as well. Because I want to do this every week. I think this will be good. And it's a good way for us to talk about things that we don't really get around to talking about too.
We only talk about this stuff with ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you get to talk about it with you.
Like in the car or whatever. Because we still have like things to talk about.
Well, let's talk about them.
Daredevil.
Oh,
we got
Daredevil.
Andor.
Which
we
is
got
funny.
some shows to talk about.
Charlie Cox on a roll.
Charlie Cox is in Daredevil. So Daredevil, not Daredevil Netflix, Daredevil recently.
Daredevil
with
Reborn.
Disney Plus. I didn't like the ending of that show.
We shouldn't spoil it in case people haven't seen it.
Yeah, that's true.
But you didn't like the ending. But on the whole, did you enjoy the show?
I enjoyed the show, but I still really there's something with Marvel that I don't feel connects with me. And this is true. It's like when we watch Thunderbolts, there is something, and I don't know if it's inherently that universe or its characters. And we talked a little bit about why this is, but there's something about the Marvel universe that doesn't connect with me. And I think it's because the people in that universe, I'm talking about the lay people, like
The normies.
the normies.
The people like you and me.
The people like you and me who are just going to work or doing stuff in the background, not the superheroes. They are so unbothered and unperturbed by the existence of superheroes in their universe that it aggravates me.
It's strange.
How do you not know if you live... Okay, when did the first Avengers movie come out? Like, when did Iron Man come out?
Like 15 years ago?
And so you're saying, okay, so people in this universe, superheroes have been a part of their thing for over a decade.
Yeah.
But they're so unbothered and simultaneously surprised that, oh my gosh, an alien invasion. Oh my gosh, something like, it breaks believability for me. You know?
Yeah, I enjoyed Daredevil. We can just do Daredevil Thunderbolts together.
Yeah, let's just do Marvel. Ching.
I
together.
enjoyed both of them. I think they're much better than a lot of the recent Marvel outings. Like, solid 7.5 out of 10 content. But when you said that, it was like I got slapped across the face by the reality ray.
Yeah.
Like, wow, you're right. Because it's really weird how the villains, in Daredevil, it's Kingpin. Mm-hmm. He's like, I'm very against vigilantes. I will kill every vigilante. Give me sugar.
Yeah,
I want sugar.
Vincent D'Onofrio being Vincent Donnie.
He's phenomenal.
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Vincent D'Onofrio is Kingpin.
Vinny
phenomenal.
D'Onofrio. Yeah,
Love
he was
him.
great.
But he acts this way. But like literally, New York has been saved dozens of times. Spider-Man, the Avengers, Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Like they've all been there. And they've saved New York.
Multiple times. Ongoing. Every year there's a new superhero.
But people act like, oh man, I guess Kingpin's right. Don't like those vigilantes. Like, what are you smoking?
Like, what? Excuse me? Oh, now the cops don't like them even though the cops have been saved by them time and time again repeatedly?
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre. And like...
It takes me out.
I've read a lot of comics. I've read a lot of Marvel and a lot of DC. And the interesting thing is, what Marvel always did really well in the comics was believability.
Yeah.
And trying to ground things through science and realism. And in the comics, I feel like it does a much better job of having the lay person react to the superheroes. Mm-hmm. I can't think of a single arc, a big arc, like a good arc.
Yeah.
Where
the Glengarry arc.
The Glengarry arcs. I can't think of a Glengarry arc where this particular problem happens.
Yeah.
But like when I think about the movies, it's consistent.
I know.
Like they're just like we saw Captain America, which was not a good movie. But just thinking about like
Brave New World.
The way they treat Captain America in that movie is just like, oh yeah, you get an invite.
Yeah.
You get an invite to the president's dinner. Like, an invite?
Yep.
He's Captain freaking America.
And no one's paying attention to him. No one's, everyone's unbothered.
He would have a lot, in real life, if Sam Wilson, Captain America, existed.
Yeah.
He would not be able to walk in public because
Right.
he saved the world,
Yes.
People would want to shake his hand, thank him.
Yep.
He'd probably get, hits on him, too. It's just not believable the way the extras act in these movies.
It's not. And that's what, makes me not enjoy them, I think, is because there's no reverence for that...
The hero.
The heroes of that universe. And then, as opposed to a show like The Boys, which we never finished watching because it just got so... I think it just got so repetitive.
Yeah.
And that, it's like, okay, yeah, the boys are bad. But that was a very
The boys are bad in town.
Yeah, the boys are bad. That was a much more realistic handling of what superheroes in today's society would be like, right? Because they had fan clubs. People wanted photos with them. They were mobbed. They had, people paying attention to them, blah, blah, blah. There was recognition. But in freaking Thunderbolts... You had what's-her-name, Scarlet Widow's,
Scarlet Widow.
Whatever her name was, her
my
sister.
favorite superhero, the Scarlet Widow.
Yeah, Florence Pugh, She's like, I'm walking down the street, and no one seems to notice or pay attention to me. Like, really?
I mean, to be fair, in that regard, she's much lesser. I don't think people know who Yelena
if there's someone
is.
walking around with freaking katanas and, creepy looking makeup.
I mean, it is just another day in Marvel.
Everyone was depressed in Thunderbolts too.
Well, I mean, I think that was part of the plot.
Yeah, I guess.
I did like that element of it.
But everyone was competing who can
be the saddest.
Who can KYS myself quicker.
Oh, that's nice.
That's what they were doing in Thunderbolts. They were all talking about, I sometimes think about dropping off a bill.
Sometimes I think about running car into wall just to see if I feel again.
Sometimes I think about jumping out into outer space and okay, we get it.
And Kurt Russell's son's like, sometimes I think about my dad and how he was in the thing.
We get it, okay? I understand. But I just don't, something with Marvel doesn't connect with me. I don't like their heroes. I can't think of a single Marvel hero I like.
I want to contrast what you just talked about with the latest Superman trailer.
Oh yeah, the Superman
That trailer, we haven't seen the movie. I don't know if it's good. I have a feeling. But you look at that trailer and there are protests against Superman.
Yep.
He gets the cup thrown at his head, but everyone knows him. People are reacting to him.
Yeah.
There are children screaming his name for help.
Mm-hmm.
The world, he's giving an interview to Lois Lane, the world
he's losing his
either
temper in the
loves or
interview.
hates Superman.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what would happen in real life.
Yeah.
You'd have people that love these people or hate them. There is no ambivalence to Superman.
That's a much more realistic.
It is. Which is funny because DC is all about fantasy and not realism. But I feel like that trailer, it looks so much more believable with the normies than anything Marvel's done recently.
Although I'm tired of seeing that stupid scene where a pedestrian gets saved. And I told you this. Every single superhero movie, I don't need to see a pedestrian. Oh, thank you. It's why weren't you out of the way? When I see stuff coming, I get out of the way. But you're just standing there. Oh, my groceries. Oh,
I'm crossing the street in my walker. I can't move out of the way of the falling rubble.
And then there's always someone's child. There's always, my child, save. Go save it yourself. You had plenty of time to get away yourself, clearly.
It's the adrenaline doesn't exist in this universe. Listen.
You're over here, but your child is in the middle of the street. Why? I hate it. And Superman's shielding that kid's head, and Thunderbolts, I got to save this. Dude.
Firstly,
I don't need to see it.
Literally the first comic book cover of Superman is him holding a car.
That's different.
Over someone,
because back then,
it's the iconic
in the freaking 1840s or whenever that first cover was.
Oh, the 1840s. That's when Superman.
That's a cool thing.
I didn't realize Superman was hanging out in the Cowboys.
Superman's like, hello.
Superman's like, I'm gonna help you get to the TD, Arthur.
Yeah, but that was cool back then because that was never been seen before, right? Now someone lifting a truck, I feel you could go to a freak show and some guy does that with his eyelids. I've seen it. It's not cool. You need to up the ante. You know what I'm saying?
His eyelids.
I've seen a guy lift a truck with his eyelids.
This is an iconic superhero cliche.
It doesn't need to happen.
And you want to remove it.
Yeah.
Okay, I disagree entirely.
Plenty of people are going to be like, yes, please, no more saving pedestrians.
No more being a superhero.
How
please.
about we have smart pedestrians? That's what I want to see. Or someone that's like, don't worry, Superman, I'm crossing the road myself.
We literally just got back from a trip from New York where people are just running in front of traffic.
Yeah.
Just running in front of traffic.
Problem?
Cars coming down the road like, I can make this. Runs across the street, nearly gets hit, car honks
this
at
is
them.
what I like.
And Kitetails is like, I expect realistic pedestrians.
I'll tell you what happened. In The Incredibles, some guy tries to jump out of a building to KYS. And Mr. Incredible goes, pew, choo, saves him, right? Grabs his body, jumps in. Well, you're safe now. The guy breaks his neck, takes Mr. Incredible to court. That is realistic. That is what would happen, okay? I don't ever see any of that in superhero movies, you know? I just want something different. I I don't want the same thing over and over. My heart doesn't break every single time a freaking pedestrian gets saved. You know, save my child. Why didn't you save it yourself? You're already over here. Clearly, you had the time to escape yourself. Like, until we get that.
You okay?
Yeah, I just choked on his spit. Until we get that, I'm not going to be interested.
Well, we'll see with Superman, won't we?
I mean, it looks good, but come on. I'm so sick and tired of seeing pedestrians get saved.
Eyes up here, buddy.
Yeah, freaking Superman.
His voice is so good.
Yeah, he's good.
His voice is so good. He feels
really
like Superman.
Rachel Brosnan.
Yeah, the whole cast looks great. The whole cast. Lex Luthor.
I don't like Lex Luthor.
What do you mean? That dude was born to play that role.
He looks very emotional. Like, he's always crying. Have you noticed in the trailer?
You know what he
like
looks
always
like?
Crying.
It looks like what if they took Lex Luthor and like mixed him with Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg?
Yeah.
Like they kind of mixed all those
Yeah,
personalities
yeah.
into a single person.
Yeah, but he always looks like he's crying. I'm like, really?
He's got that whiny billionaire energy.
Yeah, but why is he crying all the time?
I mean, it's Lex Luthor.
I don't remember Lex Luthor crying all the time.
Well, there's lots of different Lex
Yeah, I
Luthors.
guess so.
But I mean, he is very
I still
smart.
like Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
He was good.
His was good. I liked his.
I think my favorite Lex Luthor is from the animated series.
Yeah, that
Just
one's really good.
Batman, Superman, whichever. I mean, which is also the one they had in the Suicide Squad
Yeah.
Kill the Justice League game. But like, that's my Lex Luthor.
I
Very
just don't
calculating, smart,
Right.
kind of, political.
We just don't need him crying all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, that's Daredevil. Oh, we finished Andor.
Oh yeah, we did.
Andor was great.
And we also watched Rogue One
we watched
afterwards.
Rogue One because
Yeah.
I forgot everything about it. I forgot everything about Rogue One.
You think you fell asleep in that movie?
I probably did.
Yeah.
That was during my narcoleptic stage.
Yeah. I just want to say, Rogue One, Andor,
Yeah.
season 1, season 2, is my favorite Star Wars thing of all time.
Yeah.
Hands down. It's perfection. Start to
Yeah, it
finish.
was really good.
Loved it. And I like Star Wars.
Diego Luna, fantastic.
Fantastic.
Everyone was great.
Mon
I mean,
Mothma,
yeah.
Luthen, Clea.
Because they took Rogue One, the film, 2016, and then they gave those characters a backstory with such precision, and it seemed as if it's been planned this whole time, is how well written it was.
Right.
You know?
It's truly impressive to watch Rogue One afterwards and just be like, wow, they
Yeah.
made all of this make sense.
Right. That is how you give a backstory to something.
Yes.
And make it believable and enjoyable, and it feels like one cohesive written work of art. Like it wasn't ever intended to be separated.
It's also really funny because if you go online, everyone says Andor helps make the original trilogy better.
Right.
Because it gives gravity and weight to all of the
Yeah.
things. It establishes how. And I agree. Andor does make the original trilogy better.
Yeah.
But what people aren't talking about is how it makes the prequels better. Because a key complaint has always been, well, why does Coruscant look this way?
Yeah.
Why does Naboo look this way? Where are the shiny objects that George Lucas introduced in the prequels that don't exist in
Yep.
the original trilogy? And because it takes place over maybe a 10-year period of time, you actually see the technology change
Yep.
over each arc.
Yeah.
And by the end, Andor looks like original trilogy.
Yeah.
But it doesn't in the beginning. And
Right.
like that alone is tremendously impressive. Andor does what George Lucas wanted to do with the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
So much better than I think George Lucas was ever able to execute on.
Well, hopefully this will show them with a positive reception of it that this is what they should do. Now, I mean, they can only do so much time though, you know? Like we were talking about what would be really good is if they did like a crime element to
I want a
Star
smuggler
Wars.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A smuggler show where it's kind of like The Sopranos.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, the Jabba. Mm-hmm. The Hutt.
The Hutts. I mean,
Why the heck are the Hutts in charge? Like, let's talk about the Hutts. Let's talk about what they look like when they're babies.
let's talk about the bounty hunters, right? Because Mandalorian is
talk
not a
about-
bounty
yeah.
hunting show.
Like, why is bounty hunting a thing?
Like, what? Let's do a whole actual bounty hunting show.
But they need to have people that understand.
Tony Gilroy is why Andor is so good.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
there's
fine.
a lot of reasons why Andor's so good, but like Tony Gilroy is the through line.
Yep.
And they just
Exactly.
they need to write him a big juicy check and
Yeah.
say, please do this for the rest of Star Wars.
Yeah, they don't need to feature people anymore. It's like, oh, we're going to get this prominent director, Like, I hope the days of that are over. I really hope the days of that are over because those days started, I felt like they got really popular during like last 2 seasons of Game of Thrones.
Right.
Where everyone did this whole, oh, this director is hot. Let's have him.
I mean, you look at the sequel trilogy, they did J.J. Abrams, they did Rian Johnson, and like, look at how trash
Yeah.
those movies are.
And then, but for what reason? It was just because they wanted that director name. They didn't necessarily care anything about, oh,
No.
this person really loves Star Wars. They're going to be able to envision it in this way. They just wanted the name. I mean, it's the same thing with the Game of Thrones guys. I don't even know their name anymore.
D&D. That's all you need to know.
Because
And I mean,
Disney-
they don't get work anymore.
No, Disney wanted to use them for Star Wars, and so they really rushed through and did this really terrible job with the last season of Game of Thrones, right? Just because they wanted them for their these directors. Like, I don't go see a movie really because I care, unless it's a director I really love, and that list is like super small because a lot of the directors I love are dead. You know?
Yeah.
Like from my favorite movies and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Or they don't make movies anymore. But like that's not something that compels me a lot. So I really hope producers will see that too and realize like, oh, let's not chase after this. Let's not put money into getting this big name, you know, because we just want someone who does a good job.
Yeah, I think one of the things that really stuck out to me with Andor, and what was the other one I'm thinking of?
Which one?
Oh, I'm blanking.
What, Star Wars?
It was one of those things where the star,
Yeah.
in this case Diego Luna, is the executive producer of
Yeah.
Andor, right? Like, it's Tom Hiddleston, Loki.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Hiddleston executively produced Loki.
Yeah.
Diego Luna executively produced Andor. They both loved their characters. And I think Loki is probably one of the best things Marvel's ever done. It's so well executed, start to finish. Andor is one of the best things Star Wars has ever done. Like, having your cast be equally as invested in the property as your directors, as your producers, as your fans, having them be fans of the property, that helps them ensure that the fans aren't disappointed.
It does, but sometimes it only works if the character is well written, because now I'm automatically thinking of Harley Quinn and Margot Robbie.
But was she a fan of Harley Quinn?
She loved Harley Quinn.
Did she really, though?
She loved.
Was that evident
I
to
think
you?
she loved her.
Did she love Harley Quinn, or did she love
loved
the
her
idea of
interpretation
Harley Quinn?
Maybe she
Yes.
loved her version of Harley Quinn.
Because
which
I
is
would
still
argue-
my least favorite version of Harley Quinn of all time.
Nothing she did embodied or echoed Harley Quinn at
No.
all, which makes me think like she didn't have
No.
experience with the animated
But
series.
she's the one, let me make Birds of Prey happen. Let me make Harley Quinn happen. Let me make so like You're like, ugh.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, so it only works if the character's good.
Yes. Well,
Because an actor can love a character, but the character sucks,
yeah,
and then it doesn't work.
I agree.
You know?
Mm. I think loving the idea of a character versus loving a character is very different, though.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's very clear that both Tom Hiddleston, his love for Loki, he's gone beyond. Another a good example, I think, is Ella Purnell, Fallout. She went and played the games,
Yeah.
right? And like really enjoyed and look how well she represented
Yep.
the Vault Dweller. You know, like got into that role, spent time with the property before just saying, I'm going to play a Vault Dweller, right? Like, there is something to be said about when you're going to do an adaptation of a piece of media or something in the world of that media, being a fan or at least understanding it is important.
It is. You have to be able to do that because your audience is going to most likely be an expert on this. They will always know more than you.
They'll eviscerate you.
You can at least meet them up at the front and know at least, okay, this is going into it, what it is. Because you're dealing with fandoms that have been around for decades. You know.
I watched a really good interview of Tony Gilroy, who's the through line of Andor and Rogue One. And he basically said, it doesn't matter what you do in Star Wars, a subset of the fandom will hate you.
Yeah.
Like, they did not like the first season of Andor because it was too adult. It was too dark. But there's a subset of the fandom.
Now they really don't like the second season because it's really dark.
Right. Well, they did Skeleton Crew, which I have not seen, but I've heard is decent, but it's more child-oriented. Yeah. And apparently it's great. But the fans who like Andor are like, screw that show. It's for kids.
You're never going to make
everyone happy.
I talked to, I was at this press event for Liza P. DLC. I talked to an Italian journalist there. His name's Francisco. And he was telling me how on his blog, he could, they'll publish an article about a Twitch streamer drama. And it will have like 100,000 views. And it's trashy news, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll post a very well-written, very thoughtful piece of a game reviewer highlighting something. It only gets 10,000 views. And he says the people that click on the Twitch trash will be like, oh, wow, really lowering yourself into the gutter posting about this, huh? Why don't you write professional things? But they won't click on the well-written piece, and they don't care about it, and they look at it, whatever. And he and I were just talking about our frustrations with, you will never, ever be able to please everybody. Right. And no matter what you do, good or bad, you will be criticized for it because that is just the environment online. And we were talking about like why we don't have social media and how negative everybody is. And I mean, it's the same. So you can't always, I'm not like this champion to like, always be positive about like the Marvel movies. They just don't connect with me.
They're not your thing.
But I don't want to make that my personality. Right. And that is what I think happens to some people where it's just like, I'm the Star Wars critic here to always criticize everything. Now, this episode could have been good, but it becomes their identity, right? So even if there's like a 9 out of 9 episode, he's like, it was great, but there was still a little like you don't always have to find everything about everything. Well, it's too much.
The aggravating thing is the Star Wars critic. Yeah. He's going to post a take that 50% of the internet is going to disagree with. And he's going to argue about in the comments. But that interaction is what the algorithm loves. Yeah. So the algorithm is going to prop up bad takes. Yeah. Over, we all universally agree this thing is good. Right. Oh, I agree. I don't need to leave a comment that says I agree. I'm not going to go write some hateful negative thing to help, boost the engagement rate. Like, it's sad because negativity is good marketing. Right. And it boosts the algorithm. Yeah. Where positivity gets you nothing.
No. Like, if I were to say, if we titled this, like, we loved Andor, people wouldn't click on it. No. Now, if we titled this, The Problem with Games Today, everyone would click on it.
I gotta know. What's the problem? What's the problem with games today?
That sucks that's how people act. So, it is difficult to kind of ever become, really successful in any kind of media thing, role or whatnot, just because I don't think people want to hear positive reviews of a show, right? They want to hear the takedowns. They want to hear what was wrong with it. And that just sucks. So this definitely isn't going to be like that.
I don't know why this reminded me. When in the 3rd episode of Andor Season 2, there's a scene where Mon Mothma is dancing to an absolute banger of a song that was used in the 1st season. Yeah. People don't remember. Yeah, but Disney was smart enough to do an hour-long cut where they play that song on repeat and have the Mon Mothma dancing scene going on. And like one of the top comments was like, and this is everything wrong with Star Wars.
Yeah.
It's like, it's literally just fun. Someone just had fun in Disney social marketing. It was
Yes,
like,
because
this is a funny thing that's going to happen on the
trend.
internet anyway.
And guess what? A day before that, someone already posted a clip of that too.
Right. And it's like, of course.
But that person won't get any hate.
No.
But they have to do it on Disney's official account.
Right. It's like you can't have fun. How dare you try to have fun?
You can't have any fun whatsoever, it's just like, it's so irritating today. So I'm going to do a review of Clair Obscur, and I'm sure I already got some comments that were like, I can't stand this game. Hate it. Turned it off. I'm like, you know what? That's whatever. That's your opinion. That's just
I'm
like
10
your
hours in
opinion.
and I can't wait to play more.
Yeah.
I love it.
But it's totally okay. I just don't know why there is such this fixation on, I need to hear people ripping things apart. Like, even as much as I didn't like necessarily love Thunderbolts, I still enjoyed it. I would never upload a review where I'm like dedicating my time to ripping it apart, a professional like, here, blah, blah, blah.
I'm going to tear down everything that's wrong with Thunderbolts in the next 45 minutes.
It's exhausting because I still and that is something that I don't think people understand. You can enjoy something without it necessarily resonating with you.
Yeah.
And you don't hate it and you don't dislike it. Just because it's like, it didn't click with me. I didn't dislike it at all. I still really enjoyed my time in the movies. I will never forget this. We saw this movie last year called If.
Oh my gosh.
That starred Ryan Reynolds, which is why we saw it, because Ryan Reynolds, we had just seen Deadpool, Wolverine, and it was like,
I think it was actually before Deadpool. We were
it?
excited for Deadpool Wolverine.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it then. Okay.
Let's see what Reynolds has been up to beyond the Deadpool.
So it was a PG movie. It was like a movie If.
It's for kids.
It was short for Imaginary Friend. And so it had a huge voice cast. It was for kids though, but we got into the theater. We didn't know anything about it. Okay, we got into the theater, and as they're doing like the title card entries, it says, written by John Krasinski.
And I immediately
and we both like flinched.
Oh, no.
We both flinched. We were just like,
I don't like him.
We looked at each other and we're like, oh my gosh, we don't like John Krasinski.
There's one person on the planet we just universally don't like, and it's John Krasinski.
Because we don't know anything about John Krasinski.
I know this much.
It's just
I don't like him.
His character in The Office
is the worst.
Became so ingrained with who we think he.
It's not just that though. Like, if we're gonna hate on John Krasinski, we need to hate on him wholeheartedly. A Quiet Place, which many people love.
A Quiet Place is
the most frustrating movie you'll ever watch, because you'd be like, why would you ever get pregnant in this world?
If you make a sound, you die, right?
And then have the brattiest kids.
But let's get pregnant.
Have the brattiest kids. And it's like, I want these people to die. They deserve it. Like, they're objectively a bad family. They're stupid.
Look, you guys were not worthy of the surviving, okay?
And then I see written and directed by John Krasinski, and I'm like, oh, so this is just a thing for him.
So this is a foundation. We're like, okay, we don't think we're going to like John Krasinski's movies. So when we went to go see If and we saw a film by John Krasinski, we were like automatically nervous. But that movie was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, just because it was so stupid.
It's like on par with Birds of Prey.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, you just fundamentally don't understand anything about the own universe that you've created.
No, it was so stupid in so many different ways. But it was one of my top 10 most enjoyable experiences of all time. I will always cherish seeing that movie in the theater, even though I couldn't stand that movie. I loved the experience of watching it just because I had a full-blown meltdown in the theater.
You were crying.
I was crying, laughing. I could not stop. I was doing the Arthur Fleck. He can't stop laughing. He has to put up a card. I have a condition.
Yeah, it was.
I felt like people were looking. I was just crying.
I was
laughing.
like, is she okay?
I thought I was not. I broke. But
it didn't help that the movie had one freaking bar of music that they kept on loop the entire time. Just, I'm going to loop this song.
And we're going to just do the tune.
No, we're not.
Yes, we will.
No, we're not. Because it was stuck in my head for a month.
It was just these. No, it's okay. Do 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 do.
No.
But it was just those.
It's going to be stuck in my head for the rest of the day.
For the entire movie. such a stupid movie, but I loved that experience of watching it because I'll never have an experience like that again, right?
It was so terrible.
But that's like, but you were able to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think a lot of people can't do that. They can't like not enjoy something while simultaneously just appreciating the moment that they have. Like, hey, I'm able to experience this without necessarily enjoying that.
Right.
And I think that's like the problem a lot of people have is like they want instant gratification.
I think also people just want to know how to feel.
Yeah, and they want to be told how to feel, though, by certain people, which is
Right.
super manipulative. And I think the manipulation is out of control today.
Like, I don't like John Krasinski, but when I hear people say, like, oh, I love The Office, I love Jim, it's like, I'm not going to go be like, oh, I think less of you as a person because of your opinions.
Right. I've never felt that compulsion to correct somebody on, or like give them a like, really? You like that? No.
If someone asks me what I think, I'll tell them.
Yeah.
But, like, I will never just be like, oh.
No.
What a terrible idea.
That's such a crappy way, and I can't stand that. Like, unfortunately, with the way that YouTube, Instagram, social media, a lot of people have become so incredibly egotistical that they think they are the only ones that have a valid opinion and everyone else is incorrect. That's so off-putting to me, and it's really made me realize just how little I actually can get along with people in this space, you know? It's like we're extremely open-minded in terms of we'll pretty much give everything a chance.
Mm-hmm.
We went to go see an AMC
mystery movie.
Yeah, it was a mystery movie. They call it Screen Unseen.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, we're going to go see a movie that hasn't been released yet. And it was Fight or Flight with Josh Hartnett. And when we saw the trailer for this movie, we looked at each other, we're like, oh, it's Bullet Train.
Bullet Plane.
On a plane. Yeah, it's Bullet Plane. But we saw the movie and we really enjoyed it.
I actually liked it more than Bullet Train.
We liked it more than Bullet Train, even though our first reaction we saw it, we're like, we're probably never going to go see this movie because we thought it was just Bullet Train on an airplane with Josh Hartnett. And liked it more than Bullet Train. It had a much more engaging plot. I can't even remember the plot of Bullet Train. Bullet Train was very stylized. It had Brad Pitt. It had
a very like all-star cast.
Yeah, it did. And it was filmed very well. It was so quirky.
High budget. Like you can tell Bullet Train had like 4 times the budget of Fight or Flight.
Right.
But Fight or Flight did more with less.
It did.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable. And so we were kind of like, and we said, we're glad we did this.
Yeah.
Because we probably would have otherwise never seen this movie and really enjoyed it. So I think just like giving things a shot, even though you might not necessarily, you don't have to like fully be in love with something the second you watch it or the second you play it or whatnot. It's like there's still value in just having that experience. And I wish people would see that more. I think they'd be more well-rounded and more able to discuss things. Like you and I, we don't really have super much alignment on, like you really loved Daredevil, you really loved Thunderbolts. Mm-hmm. I didn't really love either of those. I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed the story. I loved Penguin. Like, if I had to choose between Penguin...
Well, I mean, I would also choose Penguin.
Penguin was freaking amazing.
Penguin was really good.
I want to see... DC needs to do more stuff like that. Penguin was so... And yes...
But it's funny because we didn't really care for the Batman movie.
No. With Robert Pattinson, where Penguin was introduced.
Right. Like, this is an extension of that movie. We didn't care for it, but we loved the Penguin.
They watched it, though. Like... They could have cut off half of Batman.
Yeah, the last 45 minutes ruined that movie.
They didn't need to make Joker a freaking streamer. Oh, yeah, Riddler. They didn't need to make him a streamer. All this. So it had its flaws. But I just feel like if people were to give things a chance more without expecting it to hit every single, it's got to be A+. And so now when I think of things like, when I get criticism on YouTube, because I told you, in anticipation of me talking about this DLC event I got to do, this press release, just because I had a sneak peek of what the distaste they have for games journalists, which I'm not a games journalist, by the way.
It'd be cool if you were.
I was kind of flattered when someone called me a games journalist. It's like, thank you, because that implies I have a certain amount of like time, experience, access, ability to write things in a timely manner and get them published. I don't think you can be a journalist and be also a severe procrastinator. Those don't go hand in hand. So
journalism's all about like on your beat.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be. It's not called olds. It's called news.
And constantly being ahead of what everything. So I was flattered. So, you think I'm a journalist? Thank you. But because I got such like, a negative reception. I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to get a negative reception for getting to play the DLC early as well. And so I told you, so if you guys don't know Key and Peele, I love them. They're like my favorite comedy duo. But they have this skit where Jordan Peele plays this sort of stereotypical basement dweller, movie critic, angry video game guy, who's always criticizing every single thing his brother does. And in such an obnoxious way, like they definitely know, like this local, all right, prodigal son coming here and telling me how to live my life kind of thing. So in my head, I'm just going to envision people that give me such grief. It's just Jordan Peele sitting at the end of the table with his comb-over haircut.
Eating a microwave meal while everyone else eats a
while the rest of us are
meal.
eating home-cooked meals. And that is what I am dealing with. I'm going to really have to remember to tell myself not to let that get to me because why? Why am I going to let someone
Why does their
get to me?
opinion, like what weight does their opinion carry?
Right. And the anger iceberg, if you haven't seen it, I told you about this.
Yeah.
The anger iceberg, up at the very, very tip of the iceberg is anger. But at the bottom of the iceberg, it's jealousy, it's rage, it's grief, it's wrath, it's trauma, it's needing
sadness.
therapy, it's sadness, it's loneliness. It's like all of these things that culminate to you see this one emotion.
A little tip.
So that's going to also be something I keep in mind is like, you know what? This person is expressing anger, but I don't know. They could have just had a trauma in their life. They could have lost a family member. They could have actually lost a spouse. Like, I don't know why they're angry, but I'm going to try and not take it so personally. So I'm like hyping myself up for when I when I do my Clair Obscur review, when I do my review for the DLC, blah, blah, blah.
Well, it's super interesting in the world today. The phrase "everyone's a critic" has never been more true because everyone is a critic, and there's a lot to be critical about. Like we were talking yesterday about how Bungie has been going through this whole thing with Marathon.
Yeah,
like they put out an amazing story trailer.
Yeah,
directed by the same person who directed Jabaro,
and we could tell that immediately.
Which was it's just gorgeous. And then they put out a gameplay trailer, and the gameplay looked interesting, but people who played it said it's not good. But I don't know. We haven't played it. We don't know. Mm-hmm. And then it came out that they used AI to steal a whole bunch of the art assets. It's just like,
I know.
That's frustrating because Bungie used to be like, they were like the Nintendo of shooters, right?
Right.
Like, they invented the console shooter as we know it today. Mm-hmm. They didn't invent the shooter, but they like the whole idea of like two sticks. Halo is just a masterclass in first-person shooting. It's sad to see a company fall so far as Bungie has fallen.
Right.
But, everyone's, like, calling it the next Concord, dead game. You hope the studio closes. It's like, we can be critical of bad decisions and bad behavior without being just the absolute worst about it. Like, I don't want to see that studio close. I want to see them get back to their heyday. I want to see them succeed.
If anything, you'd want to see a restructuring and getting people out who were responsible for these issues. You'd want to see them walked out the door.
Right.
Oh, I don't want to see this game company fall. I want to see it restructured. I want to see under good leadership. Let's take one of the developers who's been there for a while and say, hey, do you have management experience? Would you like to lead this team? Would you like to sort of like fix what's going on? Like, that's what I want to say. I always want to see improvement in things. I never want to see something just get eliminated, like, oh, no more. I want to get punished. And I just feel like a lot of the criticism today is so focused on the punishment aspect to the point where they don't want to see any correction. They want to see complete elimination of something.
It's really upsetting because I feel like the anger is always in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
I'm mad at Bungie. It's like, no, you shouldn't be mad at Bungie, the studio. You should be mad at whoever was in charge of making, was it the leadership? Was it a creative director? Like, who is responsible for this poor decision? That is the person who's, and it shouldn't be the ire of the internet denizens. No. It should be like, well, whoever, Sony, who owns Bungie or is partnered with Bungie, needs to be like, okay, well, how do we fix this problem? Yeah. It's an internal problem to solve.
Let's do a little bit of investigation.
It's not for the internet to solve. Like, none of us work there.
No.
We're not the ones who can say, like, oh, I think it's very easy when you look at Activision and Blizzard, and, like, Bobby Kotick was at the top. And it's like, that dude was the problem with all of the structuring and the handling of these companies. And, like, everyone who worked there had given interviews that says otherwise. So, like, we can direct our ire at him.
Yep.
We know he's a bad guy, but, like, in this situation, we don't know all the
No.
parts and pieces. And, of course, it's like the developers who are crunching, working
I know.
12-hour days. They get the death threats in their
Yep.
social media. They get the ire of the internet. It's like, it's not
Yeah.
their fault.
No.
They're just there to work. They're just
Right.
poor,
They just have-
salaried
yeah.
employees.
They have a job. And I feel like a lot of people forget that. Like, we're talking about employed people who are working for a living, supporting themselves, supporting family.
Probably making less money than they could working at, like,
Yes,
an enterprise tech company.
because they want to, right? This was probably a dream passion they had in high school. Oh, I want to get into game development. Like, it's just, I just wish people could be kinder overall. And so I really hope, like, we doing podcasts regularly, we get back to streaming. I want to show people, like, yeah, you can absolutely be critical.
Right.
Which we are.
We are.
When necessary. But you can do it in a way where we're not, like, wishing harm on somebody or wanting to see something punished. We just want to see people be the best version of themselves. And we want to see a company succeed. But you can't do that if you have people who are using AI, who are trying to copy another studio or copy the success of something and do it, like, half-heartedly just to try and monopolize on something. Like, we want to promote, like, I'm so happy Clair Obscur is getting such a positive reception because we want to see more original ideas, right? We want to see people taking chances and experiences and little independent studios getting funding. Like, that's a really, really good story. And so
I think about how the guy who made Baldur's Gate, Sven
Yeah.
Hadlarian, like at the Game Awards last year, he's talking about the importance of, like, making a fun game.
Yeah.
Astrobot winning Game
Yeah.
of the Year last year. It's like, this is the kind of stories that warm my heart because
Yes.
I love video games. It's my number one hobby.
Yep.
I love fun games more
Yep.
than anything else. And, like, it's good to see that there are people out there in studios that are really prioritizing fun
Yep.
over services, profits, being greedy. Just how do I squeeze the amount of microtransactions out of something that I
Yep.
can't, like, it's good to see. And I think we can be critical while also being positive at the same time.
yeah, exactly. So that's what we're going to do here on the Kite Tales and Flex podcast.
Oh, wow, I'm included. I'm part of the name.
Kite Tales and Flex show.
I'm on a podcast.
Holy! All right, so I guess that's it. We do have some more things, but it's just, I don't know. We didn't, we'll talk about, I wanted to talk about game reviews in general, but we'll save that for another topic because we've talked about a bunch.
We should talk about that.
The lighting.
Let's do it.
Okay, yeah.
Here's something negative that I want to see change. I'm
Yes.
tired.
We're
Tired as
tired,
hell.
right?
I'm not going to take it anymore. I am sick and tired of games, especially it's always Unreal Engine games.
Always.
It's always where you're in a dark area
Yes.
and you walk outside and it does my eyes, it's so bright, and then it
Yes.
dims and adjusts. Clair Obscur does this. Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii
God
does
of War
this.
did it.
Final
Wukong
Fantasy
did
VII.
it. Yeah.
Wukong did it. My gosh, so many games do this, and it doesn't work.
No.
More often than not, what I find is you're in that weird limbo stage
Yeah.
where you're between outside
Yes.
and inside, and it just looks bad.
And it won't go away.
I think one of the funniest things that's happened in graphics, and I'm not a graphics expert by any means, but I understand some basic things. You look at old games, and they didn't have simulated lighting, so everything was baked.
Yep.
That light looks that way,
Yep. regardless
regardless of whether the lights are on or not, because it's baked into the scene.
Yes.
Like it was handcrafted
Yeah.
to look that way. Where simulated lighting is going to react based on your position, the light source, how bright it is there something in the way of that light source? And it's neat in, like, a horror game when you're using it to, create dark corridors or
Right.
have shadow play or something, but it does not need to be used in every single game. I'm so tired of it.
I know.
It hurts my eyes.
Yeah, it does. Because it's like that very real, it's like blinding.
Yeah.
But it's like
Who's this
blinding
for?
in a way where it doesn't, I don't need it.
I remember in the early, like, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 days,
Yeah.
everyone was doing lens flare and dirt on the screen.
Oh my gosh.
it was
I know.
everywhere.
The lens flare.
And I think this is one of those instances where, like, people complained about it enough that you don't see it anymore.
Right.
Thank God it wasn't
Now
good.
they just need to do it for the lighting.
Please do it with
I also want to
adaptive lighting.
I'm done with seeing the hair moving.
Oh, I love the hair moving.
Because it's always like it always looks like everything is underwater.
I love it. It's so wispy.
But it's not real.
It's not, but it's
and
fun.
I don't need it.
See, and this is where we're different.
I don't need the hair moving all like.
When you showed me, when you were playing Assassin's Creed and I was watching you, that hair was the best hair I've ever seen in my life.
That hair was great though because it wasn't moving all the time.
It looked so real.
It would only move when it was like look, like my hair is moving now.
Yeah, it's like your hair.
But if we're in a cutscene,
Clair
our hair
Obscur
would be,
has like the...
every strand
My hair
is different.
But I love it.
But guess what?
I love
One
it.
scene, the hair broke for me.
Oh, that's sad.
And went... and I was like, see? Because it didn't... I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So for me, I'd like to see no hair more moving.
No hair, more move.
No.
I say keep the hair.
No more move.
I like the hair.
I don't like it.
I do. I think it's super cool.
I hate.
I will say, I think just in general, it's very interesting how graphics does not equal gameplay.
No.
Anymore. It used to be if a game had really good graphics, like in the Nintendo 64 era.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, the graphics are good. The gameplay must also be good. And that was usually the case.
Usually, yes.
And if the graphics were bad, gameplay probably bad. But now that is no longer the case. I feel like a lot of studios have over-rotated on high fidelity and realism, and they've lost what aesthetic means.
Yep.
And then you have all these little indie studios. They're just like, I'm going to do what I can with the tool sets I have, but gameplay first.
Right.
Gameplay first.
I mean, sometimes it doesn't work out though. I will never forget the infamous time in which we played at Hat in Time, which
oh
you
my
kickstarted.
gosh.
And I feel bad. Listen, I don't like to be critical to the point where I like rip something apart, but I also am not going to lie. But Hat in Time was one of the ugliest. It was one of the ugliest games I've ever seen.
That game did the light thing though.
Yeah.
Remember how bright everything was?
It was like the lighting was off. It had really, really. I hated the level design for some of the levels. I was like, it just doesn't feel intuitive at all. Like. Something I love about good level design, when you're walking around, it kind of just feels like you're either exploring or there's some intent, but you're never walking into like a dead corner with nothing there, right? And I love in Clair Obscur, you usually walk into a corner and you find something.
A little treat.
But like when you have alleys that are dead ends and you have like the lighting is flat, that's just gross. So unfortunately, that was like the ugliest game I've ever played.
Man, that game.
But
I kickstarted that game.
They focused on gameplay, and people loved the gameplay.
The gameplay was fun, but
that's an example of where
it's so weird because I don't feel like anyone's really been able to recapture the Rare era collectathon. It's bizarre because the Rare team has gone on to make
Astrobot?
Ukulele. Okay, so I think the interesting thing about Astrobot is Astrobot almost feels more like a Mario 64, where it's linear. You're not exploring a level so much as you are moving through linear parts of a level and getting the stars or the bots or whatever.
Right.
But literally just earlier, I was playing the Christmas level on Astrobot because I just wanted to test it out on the new PlayStation. And I hadn't played the Christmas level. And that felt like a Rare level. Yeah. Because it was more open-ended. It was just, it was a single area that you were meant to explore. Yeah, it's like
Banjo-Kazooie is like a long thing, right?
Yeah.
But that's it.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, it's not necessarily going out horizontal.
And I love those kind of games.
But they were so well made.
Yeah, Rare is my favorite when it comes to the exploration collectathon platformer. Just nothing's come close to it.
No.
Except for Astrobot, apparently.
Yeah. That's it.
That's it.
But that's all.
That's all, folks.
That's all for our first episode. And I think I'm going to do these. I'll decide. I'll probably just put this one out today.
Okay. What's going to be behind us? What's over here?
I don't know. I'll have to decide.
Okay.
I'll have to see something cool. I don't know if these chairs are probably going to get cut in the green screen too.
No, I don't think so. They're not.
Certain type of green.
They're not the right.
They're not the green shade. We both had green on earlier before this, so I had to change that. Green. All right, that's it, everyone. Until next time. And, if there's topics you want us to cover, go ahead and leave them.
Send them our way.
I want to talk about game reviews next time. And just like the problem of making an objective review when you've been invited to early access or given some sort of thing, and I want to talk about that because we've talked about, you were saying people get paid, like some YouTubers will get paid like, oh, $500 to play a 2-hour game.
Yeah.
Well, how can you be honest about what you're saying if you're getting paid to play it? So yeah, we're going to talk about that next time. And until then, everyone, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.